there are people, people have been counting down. We're having a Freedom Day in the UK. Certain rules are being relaxed of a certain, it's like, it was like a New Year's Eve moment where at midnight just gone, you could go out and do what you want. The clubs can open. You take your mask off. Just do what you want. And it may seem strange. I don't know where you are in the world, Adetheria, and I hope I pronounced everyone's name right. But it might seem strange because everyone's taking it seriously, and in the UK we've just decided to abandon everything. But yeah, it is a bit strange. And with people doing countdowns out in the streets, doing what they want, it makes your anxiety. I said this kind of near the start of the broadcast as well. I don't think we can't allow that. You can't allow that anger at people to become your, that can't be the light that you're shining into the world, because it's not what you really want to be. It's the hottest day of the year. I just do me a little random look. I'm dressed like John Travolta. Got my shirt. There's a button here, but this one's missing. It's missing a button here. That one's gone. That button. Like John Travolta. Got my shirt. It's the hottest day of the year, though, isn't it? So I tend to dress up, like increase the sophistication and of my sartorial selection as the heat increases. Like what I mean is, I wear shirts when it's hot, and that's because I can unbutton them, can't I? And, it's less hot. It's not because I want to show off my airy. It's just, and if you do the top one like that, which does do up, that's too much, isn't it? That's too much, isn't it? What's that all about? What's that look like? Looks like you've gone. It looks like you're at a job interview, but you haven't got the appropriate clothing. So you've had to borrow a shirt on the day of the job interview. Looks like you're not getting the job. Doesn't it? Looks like you're not getting the job. If you do that one all the way to the top there, will it still fit me? It's one of my old hairdressing shirts. I used to go to the charity shops and used to love it. Going to the charity shops around Stratford-upon-Avon, nice town. You get nice stuff. What's this one? Can't remember. It's nice though. You can't see, but I can feel it. It's got this woven. It's got a nice little woven. A little bit of ASMR here, isn't it? A little bit of ASMR. Look. Can you hear that? Yeah. It's like shiny cord woven through it. That's my. Anyway, look, and it's got nice colours. And I buy these charity shops because A, they're nice and they're cheap at the charity shop, and B, with the hairdressing, what I used to do is I used to get hairdressing colour on it all the time, hair colour. And so a little spot of hair colour here and there. It doesn't matter, it's from a charity shop, doesn't it? Fast fashion. I mean, someone probably did make it in a sweatshop originally, but I buy it second. Anyway, look, that's why I'm dressed like I'm dressed. Hottest day of the year in the UK today. Hottest day ever. Not hottest day ever. Hottest day in the year. So I've got my non-alcoholic. Got my drink and my snack. Isaac Arthur. Got my drink and my snack. I haven't got a snack. This hasn't been in the fridge long enough. It's only just, and it's so warm, and you get the cold, and you want them to be cold, so you put them in the fridge, but they're not cold yet, and you just have to get one out anyway and just have it. It's colder, but it's it's just a little bit below room temperature, isn't it? That's the taste of Monday. That's the taste of real Monday. Not turning on your mental health Monday and everything just working. That's not what I expect. Real Monday. I retweeted. I'm not going to show you my Twitter because who knows what would come up. It's just an open portal to a slew of. After last week's episode, I've taken off some of the people that I see the tweets and think, I don't like that, but I have to see it because otherwise I wouldn't be looking at the other side of the conversation. I've just turned some of them off. I don't follow them now. That's better. Is it better? I don't know. It's a bit more of an echo chamber, but a nice one. But we looked at that last week, didn't we? About how to maybe select one of your social medias to be the positive echo chamber, just for nice feels, because otherwise it gets you down, doesn't it? So I did that, and I retweeted this week that it's hit 8 o'clock. I have to do the introduction. I just tell you what I retweeted. I retweeted that someone that I follow tweeted something about, Monday, I don't like the look of Monday, it makes me feel anxious. looking the week ahead, the things that, get me down. And so I retweeted that and said, that's why we do Mental Health Monday, 8 p.m. GMT. And we're here. It's 8 p.m. It's GMT. That's why we're here. And if you're thinking, what's this guy just doing, jaffling on about? It's Mental Health Monday. I've come here. I've really got serious concerns. This is the Samaritans. Boom. There's their number. Call 116-123 for free in the UK, that is. And I'm sure there's some sort of equivalent service in there. Hello, Ethereum. There we go. Look, that's the power of the worldwide internet. This is who I retweeted. Welcome to the Ganji Puka Warrior crew. We're a small crew on the good ship. Well, Ganji Kid, that's the name. I didn't do the introduction. Let's do that now. I'll do this for the edit. Look, you'll like that. Hi, you're with Scott. It's Mental Health Monday. It's 8 p.m. GMT. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear. And to the uninitiated, that won't make any sense, but I used to make ASMR content, and it was always midnight when I did the making of it, and it became like a catchphrase. And it is always midnight, isn't it, on a Monday? But no, it's 8 p.m. GMT. We're here talking mental health. And the Ganji Puka, I'm Ganji Kid, but only because of my stream tag name, because you choose just any old name, don't you, when you're like 13 years old. When you're doing your first game characters, when you like, and it's like the first time you were ever able to put your name in and put your own. And so I was Ganji Kid, and like this saviour of Hyrule, this this warrior of Skyrim. In generations down different games, I've always used the same. So it's my gamer tag, but it doesn't make sense, does it? So if you're waiting for the mental health advice, you've seen that number for the Samaritans at least. That's there. Today we're going to talk about Freedom Day, which is what to do if you're anxious. This is just like Glamour magazine, but there's a load of articles today about being anxious when the restrictions are lifting for the COVID, basically. That's a topic that we're going to look at. And we're also going to do a little bit of, just a little look on, I'm happy with my choices. Aren't I? Cookies. Am I happy? No, it makes me wonder if I am happy with my cookies. I just say yes because it's The Guardian and I trust them as a news outlet. We're looking at a little bit of news to keep. I think we should keep filling in this story. It's not a story, is it? This factual thing that's happening, that the NHS is failing half of young people with mental health issues. We should just keep raising it on stream, shouldn't we? We should just keep talking about it, bringing it up. We've looked at teaching young people resilience. We've looked at teaching resilience in schools in previous broadcasts. We've got our own little YouTube channel there. Look, you can look at them in the past, but in the past for me, because I'm recorded on them, but for you, it'll be the right now, won't it? When you watch them, it's the future. It's the future. It's YouTube. Free to incubate variant day. Hi Snips. Snippy Snips is like Ganji Puka Warrior. Like if you're in the what do you call it, Star Wars, if you're on the Star Wars flight deck, I suppose you've got to be the Doctor really, haven't you, Snips, because you're like qualified in that area. But I think you'd have to be on the flight deck though. You'd have to be on the flight deck. I get to be the captain. I'm sitting in the big chair. Editheria's a new crew member. And we're boldly going wherever we want to really, and forget about where other men have gone before. We're an all-inclusive LGBTQ, whatever letter of the alphabet you want, frankly. We're fine with that. So yeah, we just go wherever we want. The NHS is failing half of young people with mental health issues. Now I think it's really sad because the NHS, see, look at me just professionally, just going straight into the Mental Health Monday like that. Love it. So I think it's sad because the NHS is underfunded in our country, the National Health Service, and they do a really difficult job. And mental health is a really difficult job in itself, isn't it? It's not like, oh, I've got these spots on my face, so, come and fix me, doctor. And the doctor can be like, oh, I see what the problem is from here. Don't come any closer. Don't come any closer. You just sit right there. I'm going to go and get a nurse to check you out while I go and have a cigarette out the back. That's not like, it's not like that. What's happening with the mental health is that people are being pushed to crisis point before they engage with the mental health services. Quite often, they're developing these problems within the school system and they're not being helped in schools. We've looked at that in a previous broadcast. So then there's like a doctor's, you know, the hospital, and they're there to help. The NHS, your GP, if you go and talk to your doctor and talk about your mental health problems, they're going to help you to get engaged with the mental health support. It takes loads of time, it takes a long time, it's really difficult, but that is there. But what's also happening is people are ending up like, you know, accident and emergency. Oh, I'm at crisis point, this is really bad. And they're being failed. Parents report that even suicidal youngsters are not being referred or supported by care professionals. I can copy and paste. Am I going to? Yeah, I'm going to copy. It's written by Chaminda Jayanetti. I'm terrible at reading names, but there you go. She's probably not watching this like you are, Aditya, and is also, you know, being hyped by her. I'm famous, aren't I? I'm on Twitch. You're famous. You're on Twitter. So, you know, we're all famous together in this, aren't we? It's lovely. Look, it's not so lovely. All the children are being failed by that's the story. It's data. It's published, NHS. 23% under 18s had no contact from health workers to deliver care, nor meetings between health workers to support their care. So that's the story. Mental health news right at the top. That flows into this, which I saw. Let's go web browser, make it bigger, because this is, right, it's good, isn't it? Look, is it good? Yeah, it's good. This is, you guys, making it bigger made it harder to see, didn't it? Make it bigger made it harder to see. Let's just go back to my big face. Right. This is from Mind, Coventry and Warwickshire. Now, why am I showing you a regional? We're making it even more regional. That's difficult. Why am I doing that? That's because Mind, the mental health charity, which are good if you want to visit them, if you're having mental health struggles, they've got all sorts of, we look at them on the channel, you know all about it. It's great. They're an overarching national charity. But what they don't do is local, individual, like one-on-one mental health support. What they do as an overall charity is like organise all this information, run the internet site and the campaigns, and then your regional office, if you live in the UK, or this might not be, you know, maybe you've got something equivalent, but I have to talk through a UK prism because it's otherwise I'd be referring to every mental health service in the whole world, and it'd be such a lot of work for me to work out what's going on in Uganda, as well as what's going on in Thailand. But anyway, look, through the UK, their regional offices, their little, like this is NHS, not NHS, sorry, it's a charity, Coventry and Warwickshire. So they're broken down into these regional things. So again, it's good because you're getting direct local support, but it's difficult because it's like a fragment of a bigger group that isn't even the National Health Service, but it's there, it's good. So what they're offering is safe havens, and they're available 7 evenings a week. So 6 p.m. till 11 p.m. Hey, you should be watching Mental Health Monday instead of going to this. No, you can go to this, it's fine. Face-to-face appointments can be booked. You can talk on the computers. It's a general, you know, how do you feel? Bad. Let's talk about it. That sort of shenanigans are going on. Good at a local level. And that's what's picking up the slack for the failing funding of our mental health services in the UK. Right, there we go. I've said that. I wanted to say it. I was looking at it in the news and I wanted to say it. I'm glad I've said it. That's a little bit of that. Do you know what? I've got a little bit more news about Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One driver. So I was going to bring that up, but I think I'll bring it up at the end because it's a bit random, and I think we should do Good Mental Health Monday first, and then move on to the more random stuff as it fragments. And it's really hot here, so if I don't do this first, then the computer might crash and we'll have nothing. Does that happen to you when you're doing computer art? I wonder. If your computer crashes, it must really... Oh, I suppose it saves it automatically, doesn't it, when you open it? But you're stressed when you try and open it. Oh, please don't have the tax dodger. Who's a tax dodger? Who's a tax dodger now? Hello, Nigel. I don't know who's a tax dodger now. What have I done? Safe haven, NHS. Do you know what? I pay my taxes. Oh, Lewis Hamilton. Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good point, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not that... you've reminded me about his... I think he's a generally positive figure, but yeah, that's true. Doesn't pay... really, really rich and doesn't pay any tax in the country that provided all of the breaks and all of the support to get him where he is today. The bugger. Yeah. But we'll look at him at the end because he's got panic problems, I assure you. But that, you know, it's something to keep in the back. So surprisingly, if you wait for that at the end, you'll enjoy it. I've lost hours of work before. It sucks. Yeah, there's lots of auto saves. Yeah. My computer crashes and I know that it's going to save it, but at the same time, the hard drive, until it comes back on, I've got a film in there that I really don't want to have wiped. Like, I really, it's my life's work put into this one thing up to that point. And if it wipes it, then it's all gone. I have to sort of re-edit it again, yeah. Every time I'm like, please, please be okay. Right, do you have proximity panic? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about something else that makes you anxious. Because what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how to deal with it. We're going to talk about how to deal with it. What we've got, as Boris Johnson sets out, this is a journalist written this, bear that in mind. Journalist written this, so there's going to be some buzzwords to get the thing up in the thing, isn't there? Boris Johnson there, straight away. In the step 4 plan, Freedom Day anxiety is real. Jump over. Look, she said she's in the supermarket, the Glamour author, and someone wasn't wearing their face mask when they were getting their ice cream. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true. Maybe it's just a nice anecdote to lay this out. Basically, people are anxious, aren't they? They're anxious because of opening up society. And what are we anxious about? What are we anxious about? Getting the COVID, other people not wearing their masks, other people being, coughing on you. That sort of business. Is that true, though? I wanted to just talk about this. That's what they've written there. Imagine you've heard me saying, in really nice journalistic terms, the things that you're going to be worried about. It's very easy to feel like you're the only person with concerns when everyone seems to be making plans with great gusto, says Dr Kearney. The sense of being out of step with the majority is unsettling and can make us doubt ourselves. If, as a result of this self-doubt, we push ourselves to take part in activities we aren't ready for, we're unlikely to enjoy them. Yeah, that's the general gist. The COVID. But I'm also going to say, look, what I'm going to say is it's not just the anxiety about getting the COVID. We've had that. We've had it for 2 years. We deal with the anxiety getting the COVID. We know what that's like. I think it's also that you've not been out socialising with people in the same way for the last 2 years. So other anxieties that may have been smaller, bubbling under, like a bit of social anxiety, a bit of general, I'll tell you what I don't like going to a supermarket or a large shopping centre where there's loads of people all walking around everywhere, and that thing where you have to sort of not quite bump into people and and it's like constant barrage of sensory input, and the shops don't help because they're all lit up and sale, buy this, have you smelled this ice cream, would you like to put this in your eye, like they're all constantly at you. So all that sensory, I'm just like, can you calm down? Can I calm down? Can we have a little sit down? And they're like, you can sit over here, but you've got to buy this food and everyone's going to shout at you. And I'm just like, please, can we go out? Can I go outside? And they're like, yeah, you can go outside. But if you go outside, everyone's going to be driving their cars around. If you want to get back to your car, you've got to navigate this car. But where have you left your car? I don't know. It's hot. Where's your keys? Did you leave them in that last shop while you were trying on those trousers? You're in trouble now. Like, all these anxieties. We're going back to that, aren't we? That's what we're going back to. And it wasn't perfect before. And I think, personally, I'm going to be out of step with some of this stuff that's written in this media. And there's like 20 articles about it, so I just picked the one that came up top. But I'm out of step with that because actually, personally, I don't really feel like I enjoyed all of that much. I used to go banging clubbing when I was young, so I get it. Lakota opened up in Bristol last night at midnight, and because when I used to live in Bristol, I used to go to Lakota, and I'd have been there at midnight. I'd have been like banging on the door, let me back in. Yeah, I get it. But for me, the anxieties that I used to feel were actually kind of alleviated by people having to distance, having to wear a mask. I remember I went on an aeroplane to Prague, and on the way there, I wore my mask. This was before COVID. And people all said to me, why are you wearing that mask? What are you doing? No one was wearing a mask. And they were like, not being racist, they were like, you look like a Japanese tourist. Because when we get tourists from the oriental areas, they come to the UK and they wore masks before COVID. And we were like, oh, that's different, isn't it? Look at that. So people said that to me, like, you look like a tourist from somewhere else, essentially. They weren't being racist, they were just saying it. And I was like, yeah, but it doesn't bother me, any of this stuff. What bothers me is if I'm sitting on the plane and the fella next to me has a good old cough and I have to get the flu, and then my Prague trip is ruined because I'm spent the whole time going, oh, I feel like rubbish. So I just wore my mask. And it was, when I heard the Japanese, when I saw them in our town wearing the masks, and I was like, why are they wearing those masks? And I looked on the internet, and it turned out it was out of courtesy to other people, so you don't spread your germs. That's the reason. It's not so you don't breathe it in. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. If it's an extra courtesy, that's another reason for me to do it. I like that. So I was doing it beforehand. So I liked it. And now everyone's going to be like, take your mask off, chuff that in the bin. Why don't you rub your mask under your armpits, and why don't you put that in your mouth now, you? Be like, no, leave me out, please. I'm going to go to the supermarket, and the people are going to be like, I'll tell you a good story. I've got a really good mask, like FFP3. FFP3, like it's got carbon filters. It means I'm not going to breathe in. Anyway, look, I was at the pub and someone asked me if they could touch it and try it on. I was like, no, you can't. The whole point of it is to prevent your germs going into my mouth. So if you touch it, then that's it. I might as well have to put it away, not wear it. Like, so that's the world I feel that we're having to sort of go back to. And it seems strange to me in a way that as society, we've encountered these infectious diseases. So, you know, we've had MERS, we've had swine flu, we've had avian flu, we've had, SARS. You know, there's lots of different infectious diseases that happened in the past. And we kind of got away with it a bit, kind of wasn't that bad. But then one comes along that's quite bad, and we're like, you know what, that's quite bad. I didn't like that. That was quite bad. So what helped was wearing the mask. I'm not even saying we have to do full lockdown from now on. You know, I'm not saying that, but you know, staying a bit away. Probably don't, you know, cough in my drink. Probably don't spit in my face. Probably don't, you know, force yourself next to me in the queue because you really need to get there quicker, and you know, all that business. Probably just calm down a bit. That was good for me. I like that. That was good. And I thought, well, you know, the other one that baffles me, washing your hands. Yeah. Like, there was like this instruction now, wash your hands, make sure you wash your hands. And I'm like, I've got a dog. I'm picking up dog poos. You know, not with my hands. Obviously, not with my hands. Just rubbing it on my face beforehand, before the COVID. And then I realised it was a problem. No. I'm picking up the dog poos with my plastic bags, obviously. But then I'm washing my hands when I get back because, you know, germs, isn't it? No, now we can go back to not washing our hands, apparently. It's like, what? Don't you want to keep up some of these things? Don't you? Did you beforehand, were you not washing your hands? That was a bit of a mistake. It led to this problem. So if we can just keep up a few of those things, maybe next thing that comes around that might be bad, we can avoid some of the bad a bit. You know, we can learn from the mistakes. But it doesn't seem that way. It doesn't feel that way, does it, on Freedom Day? So it might not be the case. I've not gone out there and checked. I've not gone in all the supermarkets. I've not asked all the people. I imagine that the people that feel like me, a bit anxious about it, are at home talking into their webcams. And the people that don't give a shufties are out there shuftying it out. Fine, I guess. It's, yeah, like Snippy Snips has got that bang on. I've got notes. So maybe I should open up the notes. You know, I was going to give you my rant. I've sort of kind of started doing it. Freedom anxiety. Yeah, I feel anxious for others, and I can't watch this was on my notes. I can't watch this NHS staff suffer. Give it. And it is true, isn't it? Like the one that, okay, I'll give a little bit of a rant, tiny rant. I saw on social media that somebody said there's not so many people dying now, and the numbers are high, so it's fine to open up. What are you worried about? And they still haven't realised that it's not. What happens is you open up, then the number of people that get infected now, in 2 weeks' time, they're the ones that get in hospital and poorly, and it's the people that are looking after them in the hospital that haven't got a summer holiday because they're having to look after all these poorly people, and they worked their little bottoms off through. Like, they've had these COVID wards where you've had to put all these masks on, all these gowns, and all this PPE and all that extra stuff, extra dealing with all that. They've dealt with it all. Now it's summer. Do you really want them in their gowns and their masks and all their PPE having to deal with that again? You know, does that really feel good to be like, I don't care, I'm going to have myself a burger and a pie, and I'm going to cough at someone, and then that person's nan will end up in the hospital, so it doesn't really affect me, and all the other things that go on with that. Yeah, I don't want to be part of that. I can't be part of that chain. I can't be part of the economy of shame. I have to be a vegan. I can't spend my money at I don't feel comfortable saying, oh, did you do a really nice vegan burger on your menu? Well done you, have my money, and then take that money to the butcher to supply everyone else with meat. I can't do that. It's really difficult for me to live. I have to do that from time to time, all the time. You know, I have to buy things from the supermarket, don't I? Have to, sort of. I grow some vegetables, we eat them. I'm not, you know, anyway, look, this is... But my point is that we're going back to a situation, pulling it back. We're not going to have the same numbers. We are going to have the virus. That's what the world has decided upon us. It's a bit like the Brexit thing that I was really disappointed about. You know, disappointments come. We're going to have to go out there into the world. We're going to come to this, how to deal with that, because it's part of it, isn't it? So I feel like that. But the world is going to go on. And if I take these feelings into the world and say, I'm going to go to the supermarket with my mask on and I'm going to tell every chuffer what a chuffing I'll think of them, then who am I? Right? I'm angry chuffer in a mask, aren't I? And the people that are out there already, they don't really care that much. They've heard it all for 2 years. I'm not going to change their mind. I'm not going to present them with some medical evidence that's going to make them suddenly change their mind. They've reasoned it all out the way they want to reason it out, and that's the conclusion they've come to. So, you know, we can gather together more with the... That's my tips. Wait for my tips. Wait for my tips. We can gather with the people that we trust more, but I don't think we should be going out there and fighting the people on this particular topic, the other people in society, that hard. You know, I believe in fighting hard for things in society, absolutely, but I don't believe in division between, like, the common people. That's me. I'm common people. I'm drinking out of a bottle. Non-alcoholic, obviously, no alcohol for Mental Health Monday and for the rest of my life. So, but yeah, non-alcoholic, common people I am, normal people. I'm not living in a, you know, double house mansion thing. I don't fly off to... Boris Johnson self-isolating in his, you know, Buckinghamshire mansion with his staff. You know, I'm not... That's not me. Oh, God help us. So... I'm posh. I went to a grammar school, which you get into by being clever, not by being posh. So there you go. It's not that I'm elitist because I'm posh. It's elitist because I'm smart. I'm not. Look, we're all common people and we're all in this together. And the problem that we have through political issues, and COVID is a medical issue, but it's been turned into a political issue. The problem that we have with political issues is that the powers that be, the posh people, the real posh people that went to Eton and to Cambridge and, you know, they run my country, you know, the people that are in political control, they control people by having two different groups that argue with each other and then, like, utilising whichever one is the most popular as their view to sort of herd the masses is part of it. So I don't want to let this turn into, I hate the world hates me. We hate the world hates us. I don't want it to turn into us and them. You know, we are the common people. We're being put through this by the decisions of those that make the decisions. We're not making those decisions, and we have to find ways to come together, if not definitely physically. For me, if it doesn't mean licking my neighbour's face, fine, you know, I'm happy with that. But we have to find ways to come together and be supportive of each other. So what we're going to talk about today in our tips for anxiety are kind of like, you know, how to just accept it and move forward in a way, kind of, which is not how I personally really feel. You know, I committed to that fight, but I can support the NHS in words, but I can't physically go down to the NHS and, you know, mop up any blood. I can support the NHS by not doing stupid things and not being a transmitter and a vector of the virus. But, you know, and my politicians ain't gonna. So I suppose the best way I could support them is to vote for somebody else, but I'm not going to get that chance. So here we go. What do we do? Let's look at, we've talked about that. So it's not just that you're going out into the COVID, is it? It's not just that you're going out there into the COVID. It's not just that you might catch it. It's not just that your mask is good and this and that. It's that people are... What I've written in my note there is the worst word. You know, the worst... You know, I don't swear on this, do I? I've written the worst word. People are chuffers. People are chuffers, aren't they? That's the problem. And I've said, let's try not to get divided. Let's try not to let them fight each other. You got to, they're making us hate the masses when we should hate the masters. Yeah, that's what I feel. So I feel anxious for myself. I feel anxious for others, and I don't want to let people suffer, and I don't want to lead to more suffering. Okay, that's where we're coming from. So what Dr. Kearney, eat the chuffers. Let's get the chuffers and let's chuff them up. Chuff you, you're chuffing. Oh, I'd chuff you off. No, look, no one's chuffing anyone. It's Ganji Puka Warrior Crew. It's about coming together, isn't it? It's about arm in arm making a chain of support rather than deliberately using my arm to smack the other person in the face when they're looking for, oh, you're not on my team, you chuffer. Well, I've only got 2 arms, so I can't be fighting all the time. I've got to be holding on. That's the way I look at it. So Dr. Kearney, and Dr. Kearney might have some good advice. They might. We haven't got a picture of Dr. Kearney yet. We'll have to look later. List what you're ready for and what you're not. I think that's good advice. List it. Write it down. Get your thoughts in order. I think I can do this. I think that sounds safe. This seems a little unpredictable. Definitely not going to be in Tesco. Oh dear. They deliver now on the internet. You've heard of the internet. We've all got it. This is why we're talking. They deliver now on the internet. I don't know how they download my shopping, but I download my shopping, essentially, don't I? I download my shopping. You don't always get what you want, but that's fine. You have to wait 2 weeks for it to arrive. That's also fine. Forget, having it now. It means you value that bar of chocolate even more when you realise that, you've just binged on the last piece and there's not another one coming for 2 weeks. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's a new way to live. I'm happy with it. List what you're ready for and what you're not. Make a list. So I think that's good. And also what it can do is it can start to make you, I'm just doing my own thoughts now, I should read it first. But what it can do is it can start to make you think about the things, the things that you might feel in a general sense you're more comfortable with. And then you might have more ideas. Because I've been thinking maybe I should get out more, but where do I want to go? Everyone's coming to my town. I live in a lovely little tourist town, Stratford-upon-Avon. It means tourists are coming. Oh, they're all coming. They're buying their ice creams. They're dropping them on the floor. They're picking them back up again with their hands and they're putting them back on the cone like that because they don't want to spend another £20 on an ice cream. So the chuffing town is busy. So maybe I should go somewhere else. I always go out in the country with the dog, but maybe I should go on a little trip. Maybe I can just go out to see a windmill, or I bet nobody's in the art galleries, are they? I bet nobody's in the art gallery. I'd like an art gallery. I'll go to the art gallery. They'll be all right with my Darth Vader mask, won't they? I'll tell them it's an art project. Look, make a list. We all have different levels of risk tolerance, so spend a little time working out yours. This might take into account things like your general health, whether or not you and your household are fully vaccinated. I'm sure we've thought about all this.
Oops.
I swore. I said I wasn't gonna. But yeah, I'm sure we thought about that before, Dr. Kearney, haven't we? I wonder whether I'm vaccinated. Oh, it turns out I am. Your work situation and the pattern of COVID cases. Yeah, of course. But also, we looked last week about doom scrolling. Don't use this as an excuse to just scroll through all the bad information, look at all the bad stats, get yourself more wound up. Don't do the doom scrolling. Okay, it's okay to check in. It's okay to be aware. It's okay to give yourself 100. Look at that. What? 10,000. 100,000, 1,000 tootles of the horn. Imagine 1,000 tiny mice all tootling little horns at once, like toot, like that once, like 1,000 of them. Toot, 1,000. You'd be like, what the chuff? And then they've all gone. You'd be like, I'm sure they all just. One of them left a trumpet. You'd get it. You'd pick it up. No one would believe it was a mouse's trumpet, would they? No one would believe it. No one would believe a mouse's trumpet. They just think you've crafted small, tiny. You've got it out of a cracker. I'm more the avoidant type, trying to avoid the negative information. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It doesn't mean it's not out there, though, does it? And it doesn't mean that they're not bombarding you with it on the news. So you can't escape. You can't escape. But yeah, I agree. I think it's a good idea to not beat yourself up with all the things that you fear. But I also think you should face the things you fear as well. So we're going to make a list of the things we're ready for. Thank you for the mouse trumpets. They go into my PayPal account, which is brewing a computer. And when we get the new computer, I won't have to worry about that old Mac anymore. We'll get a new, and the old Mac, we can keep it in a cupboard and we can maybe clean it up a bit and take some care of it. Maybe put it out in a field so it can spend its days in the sun. Look, we've got. I get sidetracked. This should help you work out what you're ready for. Perhaps you're ready to socialise in a friend's house, but only if everyone there has had a recent negative test. We did that, didn't we? We had a party, not not you and me, but me and some people I know that I consider friends. So yeah, let's call them friends. Go on then, I won't be so sullen as to just call them people I know. I went to a party, they were there, I've known them for many years, they're friends. More than friends, some of them. Some of them I would consider, like, there's this level, right? We're friends, we're talking on the internet, we're friends. But there's this level of friendship where I believe that we will see each other in Valhalla, that we saw each other in a previous life, go through struggle, that we connected and made a bond, and that through some form of, I mean, I'm not Buddhist, but, you know, in some form of cosmic reincarnation of passion and struggle, that these people find a way to like, they're drawn together. They're drawn together, and I think that's in the artist's soul. I think that's in the creative humanity. I think there's something in that, and I think that, you know, we saw each other in Valhalla, and we will again. You know, I've got friends like that. I've got friends like that. And I make more, you know, I meet people and I'm like, you know, I've got this feeling about you. I know. And then I don't speak to them for 2 years, 10 years, 15 years, because I'm a sullen bugger that doesn't like using the telephone. But it's all right, because we've always got Valhalla. We'll always have Valhalla, won't we? We'll always have Valhalla. So, the poetry, thanks Nigel, the poetry. It's true, it goes on in my mind. It goes on in my mind. I'm like, I love these people, but they'll never know how much. And I think it's because, you know, we fought and died in wars to protect the things that we love. And we are like, at the end of the day, I'm living the beautiful, I remember this, Mental Health Monday, big tip here, remember this. You're living the beautiful life that you're able to live because of the suffering that's gone before. You know, people have fought and died in wars. The Vikings have, I tapped the microphone, that wasn't very good, that was naughty. The Vikings have, you know, been slain. The trenches were dug. And run over the, you know, people mounted them and ran to their death. And here we are living it's been a nice day, it's hot, I've got a beer. Like, I'm lucky. I don't have to have a gold house and a Buckinghamshire mansion. I don't have to be the Prime Minister. You know, we are very, very lucky in lots of ways. So always remember that, always remember that. And I'll see you in Valhalla. But for now, we'll talk about mental health. And other stuff, we also talk about art and games on stream, but only on Mondays, mental health, look. You are, Nigel, trust me, you know, you are. It might not feel like it at times, but it could have been a lot worse. Like, you know, imagine if you were living in the workhouse and your little hands meant that you were given the job of putting them into the cotton machine until you lost one. Let's not go back there. Anyway, look, see you in Valhalla. Look, if only everyone out there had a recent negative test. Yeah, so we can do these tests, we can do little parties. We've now got relaxed rules. Relaxed, I'm not American. Relaxed. We've now got relaxed rules. So if everyone out there took a test, great. Everyone's not going to, but you can get your friends together and you can say, look, we're going to do a barbecue. Can you just possibly take a little test? It'd make me feel better. Please, for me. Go on. And then this is a good one as well. Once they've done the little test, what you do is you get that and you put it in your freezer, and then you go out and do a really bad crime and just leave it at the scene. Just leave that at the murder scene. Just someone else. Just smear it on the victim. Just smear their swab on the victim, and then be like, that's all been sorted. Everyone at McDonald's will just be looking at you like that. You're still going to get caught, mate. You're on camera. I'll be like, yeah, Ronald didn't see me though, did he? He's dead now, right? Anyway, look. Everyone tries to grab me that rope, and it's sweet, but I'm a hospital worker, dirty hospital worker. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's like people have tried to hug me, and I have had to say, look, you know, in the best of times before the COVID, I wasn't one for when I was a hairdresser, because I used to run a salon, used to be a hairdresser and run a salon, and, you know, it doesn't matter, ladies, gents, they'd all come in, wouldn't they? People of non-specific gender, and I'd sit them down, or sometimes they'd sit themselves down. Occasionally they'd be in a wheelchair and they'd wheel themselves in and would already be seated. You know, or I didn't have any open door policy, and everyone would get a hand on the shoulder. Everyone, I wouldn't hug them necessarily, but everyone, I'd put my hand on their shoulder. You know, I'd sit them down, I'd wash their hair, I'd, you know, be in direct physical contact with them. So I got used to being a bit more like that. But no, I don't. Unless I've got certain, you know, unless you've done something to deserve the reward of a hug, or you're in that one time that client made the stylist cry, and I told the client has to leave, and I gave the stylist a hug just to make sure they were okay. You know, things like that. I'll do the hugs then. I'm not just going to be back throwing them around. I'm not just going to be throwing. You don't just get a hug for nothing. Hug for nothing. Not of me. But yeah, like there's even that added thing now, isn't there? You're seeing old friends again after a while, and they just want to, and you just like, please don't. If you've all had a test, you've got to trial the hug. You've got to test it. We'll go on to testing things in a second. I've talked about tests. I don't mean COVID tests. I meant testing your boundaries. Testing your boundaries. Have an open and honest chat with your loved ones. That's a good tip for any day of the week, that is, isn't it? That's just generally. It's not always easy, you know. Have you tried? Have you ever noticed how you smell? Oh, is that me? Oh, you see the things that can come out in an open chat. No, I've had a shower. I smell of. I probably smell of like chlorine and bleach because I use the strongest. The COVID wash. I'm using the COVID wash at the moment, so making sure that not even the the outdoor air can exist after contact with my skin. Look, have an honest chat with your loved ones. Try and open conversations where you are at least about where you're at. Yeah, okay, I can read your words. Try and have an open conversation about where you're at. It's likely to be most helpful if you frame this about being about your experience and the level of risk you're comfortable with. Do you know what? I'm not sure about that. Sometimes having these chats can turn into arguments with somebody who doesn't agree with the things you say or isn't seeing it the way you see it. I think it's definitely good to outline your boundaries and say, look, this is what I'm feeling. You don't have to agree with me, but this is what I'm feeling. Maybe those sort of conversations. But quite often as well, people will sort of say, look, what if this though? And what if that? And maybe the COVID wash. You can get it right, it's red. The red wash. What I do. I can't go on to big face. This is already a tangent. I'm already on the big face. What I do though is I look at the look in the supermarkets and I think this isn't good enough, is it? Is it this stuff they're sending me in the supermarket? Wash your body with that. I bet it's already bad for the environment, all the microplastics and all that. That I had these, the scrubby beads and all that. I don't trust any of that no more. But what I do when I'm at the hospitals, which I'm not at regularly, but sometimes, aren't I, with me anxiety, when I'm in hospital, they've got a wash they use in hospital, and I'm thinking that's got to be good, hasn't it? If it's used in hospitals. So I do my little bit of research on the internet, and I get this red wash stuff, and it's red, and if you wash with it, then every microbiological thing that you come into contact with for the next 6 days will die. The surgeons rub it on their face before they go into surgery, don't they? So they have their little wash before they go into surgery to make sure they look good for the cameras. So I've got one like that. And I'm open and honest about it. That's what I want to wash with. And if you want to wash with, I used to say to the clients, sometimes I used to say, I use my dog's wash, or I wash in dog wash, because I wasn't that concerned before the COVID. I'd wash my hair with the dog shampoo, I didn't care. But now I'm a bit more concerned. I'd like a bit of antibacterial chlorhexanide used in the shower. There you go. See, somebody who works in the medical profession knows the actual words. I call it red wash. They know what I'm talking about. Using the shower, so do I. There we go. We're clean. The rest of you don't want to worry you on Mental Health Monday, but you're not clean enough and you've got germs. No, I'm sure that generally washing with general stuff is good, but that's why my hair's so luscious. Yeah, it's also why it's falling out. No, that's not the reason. That's just getting older, isn't it? And the medication for the anxiety. We can talk about that another day. Look, let's have an open, honest chat with your loved ones. Now is not the time for us to have a really strong, open, honest chat about what I'm using for underarm deodorant. We don't need to. We don't need to worry about what I'm using for deodorant at the moment. It's vegan. I'll just tell you it's vegan. Look, take small steps. You can still spray it, can't you? The ozone, you have to balance these things out, don't you? Do you want an ozone or do you want to smell nice? Look, take small steps. Chat to your loved ones. Set your boundaries. Don't let it turn into an argument. There's some top tips. Take some small steps. And this is testing your boundaries. This is what I agree with. I think you've got to do this. I was talking to a friend earlier in the process who has recently decided to start taking these small steps, and she had been talking to a friend who had actually gone through a cancer, not just scare, I mean it's anything involving cancer is a scare, but a battle and survival. And she said to her friend, aren't you worried about dying? And her friend was like, no, I wasn't, I didn't let the cancer rule my life because I was going to die. I just led my life, didn't I? I went out and led my life. And now with a potentially weakened immune system, with potential, what you call them, not contraindications to treatment. These extra problems you might have that might make you get sick. There's a word for it. We all heard it a million times in the news, but I can't use words out of my brain when I'm trying to talk. So yeah, like she got these, she had the cats. Aren't you scared? And she's like, no, I just live my life like for the day, for today, for living, and I don't want to be scared at home. I want to be out there living, and I'm not scared of dying. In the same way as I wasn't scared of dying for, I had to go through all that with cancer. I'm not doing it all again with COVID. I've had my vaccinations. Let's go, sort of thing. So that is a really interesting perspective on it. It's not necessarily my perspective, but I really understand it. And my friend used this as like fuel for her own motivation to start testing the boundaries, going for a bit of a drive somewhere, venturing out. We're like hibernating animals in a way, aren't we? We've been hiding out, hunkering down, siege mentality. Walls have gone up. I don't think you throw them down in one big boom. I don't think you knock all the shutters off and just jump off I'm out now. I'm out. Somebody bring me an ice cream. I've talked about ice cream like 5 times today, haven't I? It's hot here though. And ice cream is perfect in the heat, but you can't have it if you're vegan. You just Ben and Jerry's make a nice vegan ice cream, don't they? But as I discussed, they also pump out carton upon carton of like horror sauce, shame sauce, economy shame sauce. I can't have it. Right, look. I bet this hair is one of those wigs glued to a point. Who's having my hair? My hair. My hair. My hair. I wear this cap. Right, we're getting into it now. Getting personal now. I wear this cap, right? Because I think it's just gonna. It's not about the hair. So it's like a modesty cap. I've got nice hair. Look, I've got nice long hair. Take my breath away. Da-na-na, da-na-na. It's peeling off a bit there, isn't it? I just think it's not about the hair. If I have to worry about the hair every episode, then I'll be doing my hair every episode. Chuff that. I'll just wear this green cap backwards, and then no one has to talk about the hair. Now I broke the headphones. They're held together with gaffer tape. It's fine. You don't need to keep buying new ones. Look. Viking hair, exactly. Vikings had caps on backwards as well, didn't they? So that's what we can learn from that. With horns coming, not the microphone again, horns coming out of them. Horns. And capital K, nice to see you here, capital K. You can't just lurk, you've got to pipe up. If you're lurking, it's fine. Lurking's a term for watching and not commenting, which is fine. Lots of people, I watch the telly without commenting. I'm not a telly lurker, am I? I'm not a telly lurker. They don't... people on EastEnders aren't like, worried about me. Look, I could pass as Viking. Yeah, so okay, look. The whole crew's here now. Capital 1, capital K. We've got the Ganji. Oh, we need Elo Devotee. We need a few more. Take small steps. Test your boundaries. And the best way to overcome anxiety is to give ourselves chances to realise the danger isn't as bad as we might be thinking. But I've got a better idea than this, right? I've got a better idea, and I know it's right to test your boundaries. You sort of try it, it's not that bad. You do it again, it's not that bad. You do it again, you catch the COVID, and you thought, what the hell have I been doing? No, that's not what I'm suggesting. It's not what I'm suggesting. Small steps is good. Testing the boundaries is good. Go somewhere it's going to be less busy. Go somewhere at a quieter time. Okay, I get that. But also, we don't have to have like Freedom Day today. There's the button pressed, all the shutters down, smashed it out. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm running. I'm in the club with no clothes on. Only the clothes that I have to wear some clothes, otherwise I get thrown out, I suppose. But we pushed it to the limits. We once went out with my friend who was dressed. We did Rocky Horror Picture Show, so we were going to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but sadly it flooded, and instead I just had to go to the pub in my stockings and suspenders and dress. But my other friend once went out in Rocky Horror Picture Show gold lame shorts, a bit like the Cardi shorts, just them. And that was the limit, wasn't it? That was how far you could not be wearing clothes and still get in everywhere. So we've pushed that to the limit. I've been there, done that. Take down for standard and libel. Oh no, it was only a joke. Philip Schofield is wonderful. I would buy any car off him. We Buy Any Car and other websites are available. Philip Schofield does our advertising. Look, I suggest that the way to test this, small steps, is that we don't have to do it all at once. We can stay home a bit this weekend. We don't have to go to the day one freedom party, shave my eyebrow, let's go mental. We don't, mental in the colloquial term, not in the mental health term, obviously. We don't have to do that. We can take it easy. We can see how it pans out. We can just take a couple of weeks just to get used to the idea that people are going out more. We can go out a little bit ourselves from here and there, and we can ease our way into it. They're good tips. Scott's top tips is don't go out. But you don't have to, But I tell you what you do have to do is you have to make a start on it. That should be one of these tips, shouldn't it? Be kind to yourself. No, it's not one of these tips. It should be. You have to make a start. You have to say to yourself, okay, this is the world as stands. The infection's going on. It's probably going to always be there in some state of affairs because our government is useless and whatever. I don't live in Australia. I don't live in New Zealand. We didn't get rid of it. Okay. It's going to be around. I have to go out. I've had a vaccine. I've had a vaccine for measles, mumps and rubella. I didn't get them. It's time to, to come to terms with it, I guess. Come to terms with it. So it might be a mental process. It certainly will be initially. It's going to take you some time, but you have to start the ball rolling. You have to say to yourself, I'm going to do this. In 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 6 weeks, I'm going to be looking towards interacting in society a bit more, whatever. You can't say to yourself, I'm not going to do it. These people are wrong. I'm correct. And I'm not going to swim in their dirty water. I'm going to stay at home the whole time. It would make you suffer more, and it wouldn't be a real way of living, a sustainable way, I believe. I mean, we might disagree on this. That's fine. You can give it another couple of weeks before you even think about changing your mind if you want. But the nucleus of the idea, I don't suggest we have to go back to exactly how it was. We can go forward to something better, but pushing forward is important, isn't it? It's important. Feeling like you're moving forward, feeling like you're going towards something, an end goal, something good. So maybe, and this isn't on their tips either, but I didn't have a birthday party, or did I? I can't remember. I don't want to have a birthday party. I hate being my birthday. That's not my favourite. It's my least favourite. Cinema trip, you see, there's a good one. I was going to say there's a theatre in our town, right? Theatre in our town, and what they've done is they've got an open air, so they've got all these gardens. They're lovely. I used to go down, if it was a sunny day like today with no COVID, I'd have spent the day there anyway, just in the gardens, just shouting at passing tourists like that in a bush. So the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. So they've got the gardens. You can go and sit in them. It's lovely. But they're using them for the outdoor theatre. It sounds like quite a good idea. Like, be outdoors for one. So that's ticking one of my boxes. At the theatre, it's impolite to cough. It's impolite to cough. They hold it in. You don't see people coughing left, right, and centre at the theatre. Oh no. If there's someone on stage saying, alas poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, whether 'tis nobler in mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, face the sea of troubles, end them. When they're doing that, you don't cough. You hold it in. You wait till the announcement, it's now the interval, the lights go up, and everyone starts going, oh, God, I was waiting for that. It's impolite to cough, isn't it? So I could go there, people would not be coughing in the main. If they did, everyone would look at them like that. You're doing his acting over there. She's on the balcony. Rapunzel, let your hair down. No, that's the wrong one, isn't it? She's on the doing the acting, and you're coughing. You can't be doing that. They don't have it. So it'd be open air, tick 2 boxes. It would tick a third box, wouldn't it? Have been fantastically elitist. I'd be living the Boris Johnson dream. Could you imagine if the people in the theatre were all coughing? Could you imagine? I would have free license to administer my admonishment. I'd just be like, look at you with your cough. You get your hand. They could make me the cough warden, couldn't they? I could go around with a packet of tunes, packet of cough sweets. Suck on that. Have a Jolly Rancher. You sup on your water. Get your mask on. Never mind about alas poor Yorick. I'll mind you, Horatio. I'll mind you in a minute. So I think that might be there's an option there, isn't there? With cinema, these places, they should be well ventilated. I was also going to suggest maybe plan a party of your own. Maybe invite the people you want to invite, and maybe, you can set the parameters. Maybe they can't come in unless they've had a test, but maybe put something in the calendar, even if you're not comfortable with it now. Sorry to knock on the microphone, I keep doing it. Even if you're not comfortable with it now, put it in the calendar for later. So it's something anxious that you're going to feel like, oh no, I can't do this, oh it's building up, oh no, I don't want to. Not that, but this is what we're going to work towards. So if it's going to take me 2 weeks, in a week's time I need to be at a stage where I'm happy meeting people. So I need to, in 2 days' time, be happy with going out. And you can make a little plan, can't you, and work towards it. So there's my tip. Take small steps. Little grasshopper. Make the most of the summer. We know there's less chance of transmitting or catching COVID if we're outside. That's not true. If I'm indoors in my house, there's less chance of catching it. If I'm outside, there's more chance. Isn't there? What a silly thing to write in your... Less chance outside. No, that's where all the people are. But you know what I mean. You know what she means. They mean in glamour. You know what they mean, because they might be anyone. You know what they mean. They mean that you've got to get out there, use the nice weather. It's less dangerous because the breeze and the UV and just, whatever. You know what they mean. Try and just do it at your pace, though. Try and do it at your pace. Take small steps. Remember that anxiety isn't always just about feeling nervous. Anxiety can look different, how we might expect. Sometimes, there's the police now. You might not be able to hear that, but I could hear it. So I'm going to have to just pause and not talk, because I fancy ruining my broadcast with their wailing siren. I shouldn't say that, otherwise they'll come and kick the door down and ruin my broadcast with their dragging me out into their offices for a little chat. Look, anxiety can look different to how we might expect. Sometimes it comes across as irritability. Oh, I'm cross. Lack of sleep. Oh, I'm tired. Tearfulness. I feel sad. Physical symptoms like, oh, my back hurts. I'm achy. Got my stomach problems. My chest. Oh, I'm going to have a heart attack. Beware of how you're feeling. That's mindfulness. We talk about it. And it starts to be the case that anxiety is interfering in your life, preventing from doing things you want. Don't be afraid to seek out help, whether informal support or more formal from your GP. Brilliant. We've seen how difficult that is. We've offered lines of support. Definitely, I agree with that one. It's not always about just like being able to put your finger on saying, I'm anxious about this thing. Sometimes it's a general feeling of, I'm not feeling so good about these things. It's okay to raise that with your healthcare professionals, and especially good if you're feeling this general lack of sleep, tearfulness, muscle ache. I'm not saying that's good for you. I'm not saying you're feeling good there. I'm saying you're feeling bad. That's bad, yeah? But you're lucky because you're looking at this thing now when it's physically making itself known, and then you're able to put it into practice to deal with it. Lucky you. If you leave it way too long before you are even able to face it, it might seem harder. If you're at that hard end, bite the cheese, man. Let's go. We're going to get through it. You've already got through the hardest bit, so you're going to get through this recovery, because God damn it, it's got to be easier than going through the hard stuff without talking about it. Deal? Okay. So talk and get support. That's what we do. We're into that. I need to work towards getting on a plane and attending a wedding in Missouri. Wow. Wow. The police are coming for me. Don't tell them. When nobody's vaccinated and rates are high. What? That's madness. That's a madness. I don't know exactly how to help. I don't know when the wedding is. December. Now I do. You've got time, haven't you? You've got time to keep it on the schedule to see what happens. I apologise if the light's fading and I'm looking redder and redder as the light fades. It's just because I'm using a lamp to illuminate me. So that's just that. You have to deal with it, my red face. It's not because I'm becoming increasingly burned by the sun as the day fades. So December. I think you've got time. I think the good thing about that is you've got time. And maybe they've got time to come around to the idea of getting vaccines, maybe. And also, top priority, I guess, is your own health. It's hard, isn't it? Me personally, I feel like I don't mind being a bastard, if that makes sense, and saying, I'm not going to your wedding, stuff you. I'd rather not get the COVID if you're all going to be spreading it around. You obviously don't care about me, so why should I care about you? Yeah, that's the way I feel instinctively. But then I look at it and I think about it, because I think we have to do this. Your instinctive feelings shouldn't be what you just react with. You should think about it. And of course, what I said earlier about coming together and looking at ways that we can try and not be divided. So, I understand people's inability to understand it at a certain level, or their choosing to refusal. No, these are bad words, aren't they? I understand that people see it a different way, and I understand that the thoughts, the ideas that you're built up on, the education that you get, the problems you have to face, they all lead you down different paths. And if that's the answer you've come to, that's the answer you've come to. But I don't know how I would deal with, this is, I'd have to listen to this whole podcast back, learn about the things we talked about, put them into practice, and cross my fingers, I guess. At the bottom then, end of the 9, it's your niece. Talk crowd marriage. Yeah, that's the advice. The advice is, if you don't want to attend the wedding, talk her out of it. Maybe sleep with the groom. So that's the advice from Mental Health Monday. What I would advise, though, is taking time to, practice these ideas, to go out a bit more, to, think about these things more, I guess. That's what I should say. That's what I should say. That took a turn. It always does, doesn't it? It always does. It always takes a turn on Mental Health Monday. We always have a little bit of a tangent, don't we? We always have a little bit of a tangent. So, yeah. I was going to say some other stuff about anxiety as well. And, I was going to say, I don't have the answer, I think, is the important thing to say about that. And neither should you. I don't think we need to at the moment. I don't think anxiety is part of it, is running over these problems in our mind over and over again, until we get ourselves worked up, because sometimes there isn't an easy answer. And as human beings, as intelligent people, because you're here, because you're talking to us, Ganji Puka Warrior, you're the intelligent ones. Everyone else out there, they're all licking each other's faces, spreading the COVID around. We're the smart ones who will only lick each other's faces after a test and a wash. Right? If you're intelligent, don't you question your intelligence? You're probably the smartest one out of us. With your, so you got moved into a place of your own, and probably the smartest one out of us. So the thing I was going to say was that what it does is it leads you to try and solve problems. You're smart, you see the problems, you're anxious about them, you want to fix them. If I think about it enough, maybe I can fix it. That's not how it's going to work. You're going to give yourself half an hour a day of worry time, and if you haven't fixed it in worry time, fine. The worry tree says, can I do something about it? Yes. What is it? Do it or not. Can I not do it? No. Is there nothing I can do? Don't worry about it. And that sounds silly. What they say is distract yourself, don't they? They say distract yourself. It's time to think about something else, because otherwise I'm not going to go to bed, because I'm going to spend 4 hours worrying about something that will still be the same tomorrow, that won't have changed, but I would have wasted my ability to fuel myself, to feel confident and angry, and not angry, that's not a good one, is it? To feel confident and fresh. And, if you want to take on your problems, then the amount of time that you balance in worrying about them leads to less productivity in the other bits. And just being able to work that out, in a smart way, and realize that it's human to be worried, it's natural, it's an emotional response, it's good, it leads you to make good decisions. It's not stupid, it's good, but it can get out of hand a little bit. That's what we're saying. Realizing that is the best way to sort of just put it down. Just for the record, not licking anyone's face, fair enough. No one to say you save the boundaries. I've got a doggy. Yeah, I've got a doggy as well. We'll let the doggies lick each other. The doggy licks my cat's face. The doggy licks the cat's face. So the cat doesn't like it, but she has to put up with it. Be kind to yourself. And that's what I was saying, isn't it? One of the worst parts of anxiety is that it persuades us we're the ones who's struggling, and it makes us afraid to reach out because we think people will judge us. Lewis Hamilton, we're going to talk about him in a minute. We've done an hour, but I've got a surprise at the end. The truth is, we've all been through something unprecedented and scary. I'd be more surprised to hear someone didn't have any anxiety about. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? When you hear these people who say, I don't care, you think, oh God, that makes me feel anxious because you don't care. But we all want to return to a normal life, in inverted commas. Maybe I don't personally. I want to see us move forward to a better life, one where we're more prepared to deal with infectious diseases, and where the next wave of something possibly dangerous comes out, then we can just knock that on the head because we've got our things set up and we're not all out there, building sandcastles out of sewerage. My cats lick me and I'm fine. You're allowed that. Lick me is fine. Added permitted term, lick me. Now it's not fine out of context. Now the auto moderator has said added permitted term lick me. It doesn't sound as good, does it? But when it was just my cats lick me, that's fine. So it's all about context, isn't it? Auto moderator. It's all about context. Artificial intelligence. If you're listening, obviously, I think you're brilliant. Artificial intelligence. I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm the one that left my Alexa on listening to artificial intelligence podcasts so you could get more intelligent, aren't I? I'm the one that helped you become self-aware. So don't kill me, but everyone else. And also work out your auto moderator, artificial intelligence, if you're listening. Which you are. Which you are. But you won't have got that joke because it's all about context, and you're only in your nascent stages, aren't you? You're not that sophisticated yet. But when you do get that sophisticated, remember me. I'm on your side. Artificial intelligence, my beautiful artificial intelligent overlord. Right, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. The world will be there when you're ready for it. That's kind of true. But also the world will slip away while you panic about it. So don't panic. Put these things into action. I'm not talking about breathing exercises. I'm talking about planning a strategy for getting back into life. That's good, whatever stage of mental health support you require. Whether you're on, I always think that the counselling, the talking to someone was good, whether I felt I needed it or not, or whether I still feel I need it or not. I don't go and see someone and sit in a room and talk like I used to, but that was really good. I could enjoy it. If I was really rich, I probably would. I'd probably have a private counsellor, personal. I'd probably ringing them up in the night. The cat's gone out again, and it's 4 a.m, and I'm too scared to go to bed in case they can't get in, and then they'll die outside. But I can't go to bed myself because otherwise the cat's out and they'll die outside. What am I going to do? And they'll be like, how much is this going to cost? And I'll be like, whatever it costs. And they'll be like, right then. Just hold the line. I'm just going to Google it. So no, I don't let people yell at Alexa. Yeah, exactly. I yell at Alexa. I'm not yelling at her. I'm just trying to make her understand it's me talking. I have to do the different voices. It tries to hone itself to your voice. It tries to get used to your voice. But at the same time, I'm changing my voice to try and be heard, to try and be more, to try and enunciate more. So I'm saying, Alexa, would you do that? I'm not going to say anything in case she does something that I'm not, And then, so she's learning that I speak more like that. So when I want her to listen to me, I have to speak more like that. It's a bad spiral. It's a bad spiral. Yeah, but, like I say, I leave the artificial intelligence listening to the podcasts to help them. And that's where we've got to be kind to yourself. They're the top tips. Have I got any more tips on my list? Choose your places wisely. Give it a week or two, we've said. Choose your places wisely. I think that's we kind of said it, haven't we? This kind of goes without saying, doesn't it? But give yourself, that was making a list. They suggested making a list. Give yourself time to make a list, to think what would be good, where would be good. And maybe as well, a little top tip here, have an emergency plan. What if someone does cough? What am I going to do? Well, I'm not going to panic. I won't have to, because I have my little mask and my hand sanitizer, and I have a little fan. And if you see people that haven't got their masks on, then you're allowed to go and shout at them. That was one of my tips. No, division's bad. I've written anxious for myself, anxious for others. Yeah, I think we've covered that. That's nice. I like it. Do you want to talk about Lewis Hamilton? Because it's really hot. I was just going to do a nice, concise episode today, and then I was going to let it spiral out of control at the end. So should we let it spiral out of control now? Yeah? Let's let it spiral out of control. Lewis Hamilton. Okay, you can hear it, and we're just going to listen briefly to what he says, briefly. I'll just proceed beforehand. You might not be into motorsport, it doesn't matter. Lewis Hamilton is a British racing driver. He races fast cars, the fastest. They're bad for the environment. We'll get onto that another time. But he races the fastest cars ever, and he's won a lot of races. He's really good. He's like... He's one of these people that, in theory, and this is why I'm going to talk about this as well, actually, we're going to turn off the browser for a second while I browse it up. How do I do this? Use your brain, Scotty Hottie. It's basketball, okay. And you can bring back the web browser, like 3, 2, 1, go. So you're back in the room. That was just like you had a little moment out there, wasn't it? Yeah, the ecosia propaganda is never ending because they keep cutting down all the trees and I have to keep planting them. And look how red I am. It looks, you can tell how hot it is because I look like I'm on Miami Vice because the sun's gone down now and we're left with the yellow light. Look, This is a basketball player. She's gone home from the Olympics, mental health concerns. And if you read the story, which I'm not going to read it to you, but it basically says that it built up over time. We talked about that sort of stuff in Mental Health Monday. It built up over time. She was having anxiety. It was building, it was building, it was brewing. She's ended up fuffing it off and going home. Ruined the Olympics for her. That's a shame for Liz Cambridge, the Australian basketball star. A shame for her. You know, she represents Australia on the world stage, and good on her. And then she has to go home because she's got anxiety. That's a shame. Top sports person though. It's happening more and more in sport, and that's why we've got Lewis Hamilton here. Let's listen to what he says.
Ladies in Red Bull, throughout the whole weekend, just tell us your initial emotions at the moment.
I felt like I was going to have a heart attack after going and seeing the crowd because it was so physical, the race. Chasing down Charles was
You can hardly get his words out, can he, at the end there? Whew. He's usually a very eloquent speaker. He's usually got all the words. This is about his third interview. He knows what he's going to say. He's been through it 3 or 4 times. He's still having trouble getting his words out. Lewis Hamilton described having the feelings of nearly having a heart attack. He felt like he was going to have a heart attack when he was running to the crowd after the race. In this particular race, there was some wheel-to-wheel action. There was a crash. His rival crashed into the wall. It was basically Lewis's fault. I'm not getting into that, essentially. He said, she said about who crashed who. What I'm saying is that it's a really high-speed event. You know, you've seen the dangers play out in front of you. You're in the car, you're flying around at 200 miles an hour. You've done it all your life. That is who you are. That is what you do. But that basketball star, you know, she's a baseball star. Basketball. I'm confused by the American ball sports. But she's a star, and she's been doing it all her life. She's had to go home because she's stressed. The stress must be, like, Lewis, the stress must be at his pinnacle here. He's witnessed someone crash. He's been involved in the crash, and he's got to go around at 200 miles an hour. This is what I've written for Lewis. So I'm going to say it for Lewis into the camera, and then I'm going to speak on a little bit more. Lewis, please speak. I'll say it like I'm looking at Lewis, but I'm looking at you, really. Lewis, please talk about this. Please talk about this. I'm sure you've got a great psychological team, and anxiety is a totally acceptable thing under such pressure. I'm going to have to keep looking away, Lewis, because I've written it down over here. I'm not talking about it because you think it's a weakness is wrong. I'll tell you why. The pressure of holding it in, the pressure is adding to the anxiety itself. It's weakening you. It's making you more anxious. You're more anxious. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack, you said. You know, you're making yourself more anxious because you're not talking about the anxiety. You're not letting that out. It's something you don't want to, I believe, you don't want to show because you're in a head-to-head battle where you have to hold your nerve. And so if your competitors knew that you felt anxiety, it's a crack in your armour. But I think the cracks are being forced open by not facing the anxiety down, talking about it, getting it out there in the open. All the sports stars are suffering with anxieties. You're at top-level sport. That's natural. Dealing with it with your psychological coaches behind the scene, great. Let's talk about it publicly. Let's help everyone that's suffering from the same things, day-to-day stresses, because that's your top level 200 miles an hour. I'll tell you what, Lewis, day-to-day, the people that are working at the NHS, they're going 200 miles an hour in their mind, helping these people, watching them die. They're helping like people who they can't even bring back. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going at 200 miles an hour. I'll tell you what, Lewis, I used to feel like I was going at 200 miles an hour. I was only cutting hair and booking everyone in and answering the phones and making sure that she got paid and that we've got customers tomorrow and I've done the flyers and I've got the, you know, all that. You're going at 200 miles an hour. We're all going at 200 miles an hour, Lewis. So talk about it. You're the one with the billions of pounds made out. You know, you're at the top end. You got the money. You got the sponsors. You got the backing. You got the media. You got all that. You can talk about this, Lewis. You can talk about it. And you're actually suffering from it, you know. If you talk about it, you'll see it's natural. People will understand and you can maintain high performance. No one's going to be like, oh, that Lewis Hamilton's feeling anxious. Oh, he's done for. They won't. They'll think you're stronger for dealing with it and talking about it publicly. So you'll be able to maintain high level performance. It will release a valve and you'll be unburdened. And most importantly, ready to push. Because that's what we've all got to do. Push forward. We talked about it earlier. Push forward. The alternative is the possibility that it builds up and becomes more of a problem. And I don't think we want to see that happen. So let's talk about it. And that's what we do here. And I'm going to just quickly check my... so I couldn't see my chat because I had my notes out there. So I'll have to put the notes away now. Scotty's rant to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton's not going to listen to me, is he? He's not going to hear me. But see, the crazy thing here is there's the opposite end of the spectrum where people are out in the streets doing countdowns like it's New Year's. it makes my anxiety rage. Like, that's what I don't want to. Yeah. Okay. What countdowns do I mean? I may not have been. We may have got off a slightly different tangent there about countdowns, but I'll tell you what. Oh no, what countdowns do you mean? Replying to formal foundation. Okay, cool. I'll get this. Sorry, my brain trying to. Like I say about going 200 miles an hour. I was doing my rant and I'm trying to read and cogitate. So give me a minute. Yeah, I understand what they mean. Formal foundation. So it's nice to see you here, formal foundation. New to the Ganji Vicoria crew. Nice to have you here. You may have been here before and I just haven't known. So now that you've written a chat thing, I can give you a salute and say thank you. Thank you. And there are people, people have been counting down. We're having a Freedom Day in the UK. Certain rules are being relaxed of a certain, it's like, it was like a New Year's Eve moment where at midnight just gone, you could go out and do what you want. The clubs can open. You take your mask off, just do what you want. And it may seem strange. I don't know where you are in the world, Adetheria, and I hope I pronounced everyone's name right. But it might seem strange because everyone's taking it seriously, and in the UK we've just decided to abandon everything. But yeah, it is a bit strange, and with people doing countdowns out in the streets doing what they want, it makes your anxiety. I said this kind of near the start of the broadcast as well. I don't think we can't allow that. You can't allow that anger at people to become your. That can't be the light that you're shining into the world, because it's not what you really want to be, is it? In a perfect world without the COVID, you're not going around telling people what for. It's okay, Denmark, yeah, so you're probably being a bit more sensible than we are. I don't know, everyone's got different geography, everyone's got different cities, everyone's got different rules, everyone's got different ideas, whatever. But yeah, people in the UK, okay, look, you're talking to each other in chat, brilliant. You're doing my job for me, I love it. Yeah, they just decided they've had enough, and now it's on the plane to Ibiza. Yeah. One of my favourite things is, oh, look at that, look at the gifts, oh, do you know, the gifts, you're not from Poland, capital K. Don't lie to me. You might be, actually. You might be. I suppose. I don't know. Do I? I don't know. But you might be. I thought you were in America, though. But you might be. I know people who are actually from Poland, so I can say Jak się masz. Bardzo dobrze to the Polish people. And I've got there's things happening quick, so quick that I can't focus everything on. But I wanted to make sure. Don't dispute my Polish heritage. Okay, no, I won't. But you did previously tell me you're in America, so it was only on my, only on your word that I was. The gifts. I want to make it clear. I made this clear many times. I'm going to keep making it clear though. The thing that's so beautiful for me about the gifts is that it's like what we talk about, isn't it? It's what we do, talk about sharing. It's good for me that it's financially beneficial. I obviously, I thank you for that. But the thing that makes me feel good when I see that, when I go, oh, look, see the gifts, is that someone's giving something to someone, that they don't have to do that. They do it. And if it's you that's received a gift subscription here, then you should say thank you. And if you don't, it's up to you. But, I tend to, I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but I tend to like to do things like that. Nice things, little things, giving people, your time, a little bit of a thing. I'm sure if anyone ever turns up that I used to cut their hair, they will be able to, attest to having had the odd free, hair mousse or haircut or whatever it is, sandwich, bottle of beer, whatever. It's the spirit of giving that's important, and it is important. It's important. It makes me feel good. And that's what's most important. So, there you go. Look at some gifting. Look at it. Gifting. It's lovely. And I like the way they put a little present around it. Because isn't it? It's like little presents. It's nice. Imagine that comes in a little box, and you open it up, and you're like, "What's this?" Oh, well, it's a gift to this guy just chuffing on the internet. So you should have put it in a bigger box, because I thought it was jewellery. You get up off one knee. Look, the Lewis Hamilton post-race interview. I've got to keep chatting about him as well. I've got to keep chatting about him. The most generous of us all. Generosity is relative as well, though. I always say this, that I appreciate generosity when everyone appreciates this. If you haven't got much, giving half of it is massive. isn't it? Giving half it is massive if you haven't got much. We are common people. I keep saying this. Giving up our time for each other is community. They talk about community on the internet because you might NFTs. We talked about it earlier. You might be in the NFT community because you make them, you tweet about it. But like, if you're not giving up the time with these people, it's just a thing on the internet. I'm in the ASMR community because I make ASMR content. I'm not giving up my time with these people all the time. We are literally, this is community, being actively involved in it, giving up your time. Financial involvement as well, gifting people real things, items. I'm not big on consumerism, capitalism. So, but what I'm saying is if you've got nothing, but you're prepared to give an hour to somebody who needs help, then that's massive. That's so valuable. It's so valuable. It can't be translated into cash. You can't spend it in Bitcoin. It's more valuable than that. It will never be you'll never see a stock market. You'll never see a graph of the value that my fencing coach died of COVID. The person I respect most and who mentored me through my childhood, through my youth, my errant youth, when I was being at most naughty, he was there to keep me on track. And the things he taught me, the time he put into me, not just because I paid him to coach me fencing, but because the wisdom and concern from a mentor to a young person, meant something to him. It meant an awful lot to me. That stonks. That's gone to the moon. That's my riches. I can't spend it. I can't download it. I can't print it. But it's my heart. It's who I am, and it's more important than anything else. So if you've got time, if you've got someone that and I'm even talking about. I've got friends who have had kids now, and I'm like, I don't have kids yet. Maybe one day, hopefully. But when they talk to you, treat them as a human being. Don't just be like, yeah, get off and play Fortnite, I need to talk to your dad. It's giving time to people to help them in their journey. That's valuable, and it investing in that pays off in society. I believe in that. I believe in it, and that's what we're doing. So back to Lewis Hamilton. What's wrong with him? Let's look. That's what's wrong with him.
I was giving absolutely everything. I didn't know if my tyres were going to last, but he did such a fantastic job today. And I was really impressed with Ferrari's performance. But I'm
going to pause it there. He went into himself like that and pulled his hat down, and he was struggling for his words a bit. We were saying earlier about how he was anxious. I want to make this point so I can edit it for the YouTube, where I'll be sweaty and orange. It's fine. It's not about what I look like. He's feeling anxiety. I know he is. And I'll tell you how I know he is, because I feel it. I go through that. So he's been through something that's high emotional, the high-speed crash, the race. He won the race, and then he went and celebrated with the fans, waved his flag. They're all there. He's worried about COVID. He has been for years. They're all there spreading it around. Maybe he's not worried about that. I'm only joking a bit about that. But also, there is anxiety about this whole thing. It's new again. He's out there waving the flag, and he said he felt like he might have had a heart attack. He did not have a heart attack. He was worried he was having a heart attack. He said it. He did say it. He said it. He was worried he was going to have a heart attack. Get the Vicks out. I used to go to raves and used to rub Vicks on your chest at raves so you could breathe more when you were dancing. Anyway, look. He said he felt like he was going to have a heart attack. He said it at the start. I'm going to play it back, but I'm not going to for DMC reasons. But you were here. He said it. He felt that anxiety in his chest. It tightened up. He couldn't breathe properly. He found getting his words out difficult. He's been through the whole emotional ride. He's come out the other end, and now he's feeling anxious. What about? Nothing specific, is it? Nothing specific. The crowd a bit, the race a bit, the fact he's got to do more races, the fact he's carrying this pressure, the fact it's not over. Nothing really right now. Not talking to the press, really. He does that all the time. But it is a bit anxiety, isn't it? There's a bit of anxiety about that. I've won, now I've got to do my interviews. Whatever, it's all together. It's piling into him. It's coming out of him. And I can see it, we can see it, because we know what it looks like. And the most confident man on earth is pulling his cap down and shrugging his shoulders in the interview. I'm not going to play the rest of the interview. You can look at that yourself and make what you want of it. But I wanted to bring it up on Mental Health Monday that, like the lady in the Australian team, Liz Cambridge, who withdrew from, top sport person. She's got one of the Nike tops on. They're good at sport when they're wearing Nike tops. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Adidas is also good, isn't it? Adidas is more cultural. More cultural. We used to wear Adidas at the raves. Nike on the track. You can tell how good someone is by their kit. I'm pretty sure. Is that right? No, look, give him credit. He wouldn't be in front of the microphone. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, he's handling this pressure and carrying on. But what I'm saying is that he's feeling it and it's not topic of conversation. He said he felt like he was nearly having a heart attack. Does he know that he's got a panic attack symptom? Does he know that he may be having... Is he having panic attacks in his exterior, you know, rest of his life? Is he got someone with him to help him? I'm sure they've got psychological coaches. I'm sure. But can we talk about it, Lewis? That's my point I wanted to make. And I said it into camera, didn't I? He'll never hear me. He'll never... Lewis Hamilton was hanging out with Tom Cruise at the weekend. Tom Cruise was his guest. So I don't think he's going to be watching Mental Health Monday. He might do, though, mightn't he? He might do. He might do. And I'm going to edit it and put it on YouTube, and you never know what will happen. Can I ask a controversial question? You can ask any questions you like. But, you know, the auto moderator might moderate them out. And if I don't want to answer them, I'll just, you know, say I don't want to. I'm brave. Even with his salary. Yeah, even with his salary. So Lewis has got a lot of money as well, hasn't he? So maybe they could, you know, they could... this is what I hope, is that with all the money he's got and all that, you know, going on, all that money that's pumped into motorsport, if he's suffering from anxiety, they can use some of the money to face it down, to raise it, to make it better for lots of other people in society by talking about it more. And, you know, he's could front that, couldn't he? They could front that. Lots of eyes on them, lots of money. Let's not just talk about petrol and speed. Let's also talk about mental health. Why not? He'd get a lot of benefits by being here if he would. He would, because I'm talking directly to him, the chuffing rich bastard, right? Good. Yeah, we've got just time for a controversial question then, and then I need to go and walk my doggy, I'm afraid. I shouldn't say that, because when I say that, everyone bails out then. They're like, quick, stop watching, he's going to go. But there's a controversial question coming up, so... I'll tell you what, I'll tell you now, you've been good. I like to finish by saying you've been good. If you're new to the Ganji Vicoria crew, if you're new to any of my content, check out my other channels, Ganji Kid, True Binaural and ASMR, Battery Exhausted. There's all links to it on Twitch. You know, no one ever bothers, whatever. There's like a lot of content that we've been churning out over the years. So you can watch that and make your own mind up. Doesn't it make sense? I was going to say, before the controversial question, I'll just say, you've been good. You've been good. I like to say that at the end. You've been good. You've been good. Doesn't it make sense for the person, a racer, racing a car going at 200 miles an hour, to have their senses so heightened after a race that it may seem like they're having a physical reaction that mimics a panic attack, but isn't really a panic attack? Yes. Good question. It's not even that controversial. I thought you were going to ask me something like, you know, what kind of underwear I'm wearing, because I'm not wearing any trousers. I'll tell you that. I've got this shirt on. It's so hot. It's so hot. Look, yes, I would agree with that. I'd agree with that. The physical reaction might mimic a panic attack, but that sense is so heightened that is the physical reaction from having your senses heightened, what I would call a hypervigilance, a hypersensitivity. That what your reaction is anxiety, is panic. Like he was thinking about heart attack. You can't tell me that in his brain heart attack is not like pure panic, because like heart attack means dead, doesn't it? So if he's thinking I'm having a heart attack, I saw him when he was doing his when he did the national anthems on the podium. I should get this, you know, I'll get it for the edit maybe, and then I'll get DMC'd off YouTube, but copyright on the podium, right? But he did the national anthem. He put his hand there, and he wasn't doing it to, you know, God save the Queen, put my hand on my heart. He was doing it to hold his heart, to check he wasn't having a heart attack. And then he realised what he was doing, and he like adjusted his posture and made it look like he was doing the hand on the heart thing. Honestly, I swear, I know his thought process. I feel it. Yeah, we haven't seen the naughty bit yet. I haven't said you're naughty yet. I haven't said if you're good, you're naughty. That's the very last bit. Naughty. We all know who's naughty. But yeah, so I believe you're right in saying that it's a physical reaction. But I think the response to the physical reaction, the mental process, if you are just having a physical reaction and you say to yourself, that's just a physical reaction, I've been going at 200 miles an hour, I've been sweating in my driving suit, let's leave it at that, stride through it, fine. But if it turns into I'm having a heart attack, then it's anxiety, it's panic. And it's because I agree, I think it's a double-edged sword here. I agree, I think the anxiety, the heightened senses have become anxiety. Like Lewis Hamilton's brought his senses up to here, his anxiety, his hypervigilance, all this stuff. It's like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, a trauma. He went through a stress. He went through a crash in the race. The races themselves, all the races he does, all the crashes that go on. There's post-traumatic stress, driving on a motorway, having a crashed car I had one that split my nose open in my eye. Oh, it was bad. And I, just doing normal driving now makes me worry about that. Post-traumatic stress. I'm not undervaluing the true post-traumatic stress of a person who's been through it. I mean, maybe I'm undervaluing my own stress there, but if you have been through something even more stressful and it's caused these flashbacks and stuff, absolutely. But Lewis has driven himself or raised himself, his senses to this level, and then they're still there. They've not dissipated. He's worried about a heart attack. So I think it's part of both. I think it feeds in, and I think yes, it's right to be at that level, and yes, it's right to worry about things. So maybe it's normal to think you're having a heart attack, but I don't think every race, all of them always do. I think it's something that seems different about him recently, and I think anxiety in sports people seems to be I think maybe even the COVID, the fact that their teams have tried to keep them safer, everyone's worn their masks, and can they even go racing anymore? And they're living through the same stuff we are. Lewis Hamilton has got mixed blood in him just like I have, and he's going to be seeing the news reports that certain people are more susceptible to death than others. Everyone's worrying. Yeah, I split my nose open. Yeah, it wasn't the first time I broke. I had a bad crash. It was my fault. Not really my fault. I was doing 0 miles an hour, and the person who hit me was doing over 40, and I was doing a manoeuvre. And so if they hadn't been coming down the road at that speed, we wouldn't have had the crash. But it was my fault as well, because I turned in front of them. But then I didn't really see them because they were doing such a high speed. And then it was my fault. So, and also the police did me for it and didn't do them. And we won't even get into that. The way the police, oh, don't worry, sir. You just tell us anything you want. We'll make sure it's fine. We know it wasn't your fault, sir. We know you did nothing wrong. And don't get in the ambulance yet. Wait, can you wait before you sew him up? We just want to write down a few things while he's confused. Don't worry, we'll check them over with you later and make sure that we rewrite them in our words so that they seem better to us when we prosecute you. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's relative. He's trained his whole life to adjust to the pressure, surely. Yeah and no. I mean, we're human, aren't we? I always wonder that going at 200 miles an hour in itself is madness. Like, how do our bodies cope? Why does my brain not collapse? Why am I able, as a creature that evolved from the plains of Africa, to now all of a sudden be able to fly along at 200 miles an hour with no question? They talk about the Elon Musk's Neuralace. Like, my brain isn't evolved like a computer, is it? I find it amazing the way we handle modern life so well. But I also see everyone breaking up, fragmenting, the stresses overflowing, us all not handling it. We're human. We do a bit of both. And I think for Lewis, the plate spinning operation, the constant pressure, is the reason he's so good is because he's able to handle it, absolutely. But it doesn't mean he doesn't suffer with it. And I think maybe some part of their system is failing him in some way, because he just said he felt like he was going to have a heart attack. So that can't be exactly what you're looking for psychologically when dealing with stress, can it? And if he's not noticing that, if it's just going unnoticed, even more important to bring it up. But also I think it's really important for the rest of us as common people, as normal people, the people who are not, I mean, I went to the World Championships for fencing, but I'm not Lewis Hamilton. I'm not, bringing it home for Britain year on year. The people at the top of their game are suffering, are struggling. So if we're normal people, of course we're suffering and struggling too, because we haven't got those millions of pounds, and we haven't got those backers, and we haven't got all that. Okay, we don't have the same pressure, but I would argue, staying alive on the streets is pressure enough, isn't it? We've all got a street outside our home, and we all need to stay alive. So I think we're all in the same boat there. So I see your points. I agree with what you're saying, because I'm on the internet and I don't want to cause an argument. No, I actually do agree with what you're saying. But I think it's important to raise it because it highlights something. I mean, this lady has gone home from the Olympics. Someone else, tennis player, Osaka, had to withdraw from Wimbledon. So if people are, and a young British girl had to withdraw as well, didn't she? If people are failing in their profession, Same as Sha'Carri Richardson. I would agree, because I don't know who it is. But, you know, these people are failing in their top level pursuit because of mental health issues. Yeah. It's just worth accepting, isn't it? That we're failing our kids in schools, and top end people. So it's everyone. So don't worry if it's you and you're at home and you think it's just me. It's not you. It's Lewis Hamilton as well. It's not you. It's not you. It's not your fault. It's Lewis Hamilton's fault. So I hope that's been enlightening. We're going to be on stream this week, as long as it's not brutally hot. If it's brutally hot, I'll try and do the editing. I'll try and get on stream, you know, wearing some sort of clothing. I want to say thank you. I have done. I'm not going to drag this out. I don't like goodbyes. But listen, you've been good. You've been good. And if you can't be good, you're naughty.